Your attachment style matters post-betrayal, and it probably contributed to the dynamics in your marriage before you actually got to the betrayal. Leslie Wells, connection coach. I help individuals heal, thrive, improve, repair, and connect more deeply in their romantic relationships by looking at things through an attachment lens. And the nature of what I do, I end up working a lot in the realm of partners who are addicted to pornography, or they're the victims of someone who is married to or in relationship with someone who is addicted to pornography, as well as betrayal. And so one of the things that I see play out over and over and over again is the anxious avoidant dance that happens after the betrayal that keeps them stuck from actually moving forward and repairing for those couples that decide to stay and repair. Now, I am all about couples deciding to stay and repair when there's some things in place that show that there are going to be green flags moving forward. I'm a Christian. I believe that people can heal, repair, and that God can restore anything that we as human beings destroy. But I also believe that there has to be certain things in place for that to happen. And I'm very, very open and honest and transparent with my clients about when I see green flags for repair moving forward and when I see red flags. And I will let them know when they're not safe to move forward as well. But for those that are truly doing the work to repair, and they really are well on their way to healing and changing all of the dynamics in the relationship that led up to these things in the first place, one of the things that gets a lot of people stuck is this anxious and avoidant dance. And so I'm going to speak to that a little bit today. So keep in mind that even though the person who is betrayed, we have to stop the bleeding there first. They have to get the most repair and the most healing. But after that, we want to really repair everything in the relationship so that we have a firmer foundation going forward. And we don't have any of the affair is a symptom of underlying problems. And so usually within the relationship, but more so within the individual person who did the betraying. So it really is on them. We cannot blame our partner for our decisions, choices, actions, and behaviors. However, there are contributing factors that happen in the relationship that become part of the dynamic that are unhealthy, that we want to get rid of those and have a healthy dynamic moving forward to give everybody the best chance at a secure marriage and a secure relationship. So keep in mind, these things are probably happening way before we actually get to the betrayal, but we see them play out after the betrayal in the repair process. So what happens is after there is a betrayal, everything comes to light. We are working through the repair. We are going through the healing journey. The person who did the betraying usually has some type of avoidant attachment. This is not always the case. There are anxiously attached people. They do have affairs for different contributing reasons that tie back to their attachment style, their childhood wounds. I speak to this in other videos. But for now, we're going to focus on the avoidantly attached individual because that is where I see this happen the most. They are able to put more distance in relationships. They're able to compartmentalize more. They typically tend to cheat more. And that stems a lot of times from their avoidant attachment. So what happens is during the repair process, their partner really needs them to step up. Their partner was probably anxious before. Now their partner is super anxious as a result of the betrayal. But what happens is that the person who has avoidant attachment will a lot of times still go into that shutdown because it's too big for them to process. There's too much emotions. There's too much uncomfortable feelings that they have a really hard time sitting in that space, and they still tend to go into that shutdown space. So when they see the fallout of what they've done, the guilt, the shame that then ensues, when they see the level of destruction, they tend to go into this place of shutdown because it's just too big for them and they don't have the skills and the capacity to emotionally process this and show up well in these things. They go into a trauma response that avoidants go into, which is either a flight response or a freeze response. This is how they were able to have the affair in the first place. So what happens is that then triggers their anxiously attached partner. Now, anxiously attached people reject their own needs. So they very much self-reject. They are very critical on themselves. They're constantly people-pleasing, earning their worth. They do that until they reach this point where they lash out and they get upset and they get ugly, which then triggers their partner who is then avoidant. But what happens is they are very, very self-rejecting of their own needs. They will put them to the side to then show up for their partner. So when their partner tends to go avoidant, they get more anxious, and one of the mechanisms they can do is try to do more, be more. They'll actually try to do the healing work of the avoidantly attached person in order to fix the relationship, which, by the way, does not work. But they will go into this place of self-blame when their partner shuts down. It's because I'm not pretty enough. I wasn't enough. I'm never going to be enough. They go into this place of comparison and competitiveness or competing with the other partner. They go into this place of this is why this partner is never going to be able to show up for me because I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy of their love. I'm not worthy of someone not abandoning me or rejecting me or betraying me. and then they will bash themselves for the emotions that they're having as a result of the affair. I'm too needy now. I'm too clingy. I hate this person that I've become, where I'm checking up on my partner. The other person probably didn't behave this way. They were more attractive. They offered more. There's just all of this just a self-attack and self-rejection that goes in the internal dialogue of an anxiously attached partner, particularly the fearful avoidant. And there's a lot of guilt that I am now such an inconvenience and so needy and too much for my partner that's then really going to push them to leave me. So after spending some time in this level of discomfort internally, then they will do what anxiously attached individuals, fearful avoidance particularly, always do. They will lash out. They will go into their performance to be able to earn back their love. They will do protest behaviors. They will do all of these things to escape their pain and try to get that need for safety and connection back, which is what causes them to spiral in the first place. Meanwhile, the person who is avoidantly attached is doing what they do, and they're not getting any of their emotional needs met. So the problem with avoidantly attached people is that when they experience big emotions and they have no idea what's going on with their partner, or it overwhelms them, then what they do is they shut down. None of their needs get met. They aren't able to vocalize them. A lot of times they don't feel like they have the right to vocalize them because of what they did to their partner. And so they just shut down, and then they deny their needs. So they're essentially like, okay, this person needs me more right now, so I can't speak to what's going on for me. I can't let them in. I can't let my burdens be their burdens because I'm in pain too, or I'm going through a trauma too. So they shut all of that down, and then they have to shut out the noise of their partner's emotions because they don't know how to show up in that, and they eventually just shut down and pull away, which is not what they want to do. It's just that they're so overwhelmed they go into a trauma response. And so they don't let their partner in, which is very dangerous and doesn't create safety for the person who is anxiously attached. They're not able to speak to their emotions, their feelings, what's going on. They can't speak to them because they don't know what they are. They are accustomed to pushing them down and suppressing them. So they're unable to let their anxiously attached partner in so that they can create more safety and intimacy by letting them in. So, but they decide essentially that their needs they're unworthy of getting their needs met at this point because of what they have done, and they have no right to it. So they just push it all down. But the problem with that is they're not letting their partner, who is trying to rebuild trust, see them, know them, and deeply understand them, which is a key critical component of repair. So all of their needs continue to go unmet so they can show up better for their partner, which they're not actually doing. And this is the nature of the anxious and the avoidant even before the affair even starts. The anxiously attached partner is like, my needs are not getting met. The avoidantly attached partner is like, my needs are not getting met, but I don't even actually know what they are, and I'm not even aware that they're not getting met. And so the cycle continues if we do not do the deeper work. Neither one can actually truthfully put into words what is actually going on within them, and they can't either pull their emotions up enough to sit in them or tone them down enough to get to the real emotions and the real things that are happening underneath to actually be able to identify their needs and ask for them to be met in a way that is real and meaningful and actually truthful. So this has been going on way before the affair ever happened, and it continues to go on after the affair if you do not heal these attachment core wounds and you do not earn secure attachment and you do not work on these things with someone. So if this is something that resonates with you, if you have noticed this dynamic in your relationship post-affair as you're doing the healing work and it's getting you stuck, or if you have noticed that this has actually been your dynamic before the affair ever happened, then let me know if this resonates with you.